there is a massive fight that is set to go in April, Brian. And this one hasn't officially been announced, but there has been a date. Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. This is going to be for Undisputed at heavyweight. Fury said the clash will take place April 29th at Wembley. And they have also agreed to a 70-30 split, Usyk with the 30 split, except for if this fight happens, he agreed on it if Tyson Fury would donate $1 million of his purse to the Ukraine, which, that's nice. I mean, Tyson Fury can be classy, but he's not being classy online because I don't know if this fight's going on.
Sarcastic.
I like no, that's a classy move, right? Like that's nice of him to do that.
Look, in terms of it, I'm gonna stay away from the Tyson Fury controversies for the purposes of moving this conversation along. But I'm just gonna make sure that we mark that. Continue.
I was actually being for real. Like if I was being sarcastic, you would know. But yeah, I think that's a classy way to do it. That's why Usyk was like, yeah, let's do it. But there's a little bit of still negotiating going on because I believe Tyson Fury doesn't want the rematch clause. And that's the only holdup before they can really announce this fight. What are your thoughts on this, Brian?
Get it fucking done is my thought on it. Because like we had Lou DiBella on our show last month. And on the many things he ranted about as far as boxing is going on now, this being one of them, not in terms of this fight, but just guys promoting a fight by just going back and forth, and supposedly trying to drum up interest when it actually just wears people out and it's annoying. And I've already found myself, as much as I want this fight, I found myself annoyed with just the back and forth and, one guy's belly, the other guy's a middleweight. The other guys did, like, you know what I mean? Like Rabbit and all these stupid nicknames that they have for each other. Like, it's fine or whatever. I would prefer the date be official before all this, before all this happened. But as far as the fight itself, if we can stick to the actual in-ring components of this for a second, we're going to get to the betting angle of this as well, leading up to the fight, because we want to save that because a lot of things can happen. Odds move, injuries, whatever. Oleksandr Usyk is awesome. I have a hard time seeing somebody beat Tyson Fury who is coming up from the cruiserweight division, right? And I think that with Deontay Wilder, there was a real shot because, he has a real shot against anybody you put him across from because of the one-punch knockout power. You can get rounds against Deontay Wilder, and many have, and he's changed the fight with one punch and often won the fight with one punch. His last fight against Robert Helenius, he won with 4 punches. I think he landed 4 punches the entire fight. And with this fight in particular, the odds are very close. I'll say that much. Tyson Fury is a minus. He's like a 2-1 favorite, like close from a boxing standpoint, because often you see favorites that are minus 700, 500. This is a lot closer than that. But I have a hard time just sort of picturing Oleksandr Usyk win this at the end of it, Shantelle. That's where I'm at.
So you're rolling more with Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, for this.
Yeah, not necessarily by knockout though. Like I think it'll be a competitive fight, a decision, and we saw him beat Anthony Joshua, but Tyson Fury is a whole other level of just skill and size that can wear on you and beat you in a lot of different ways. Like I would love to see how Usyk sort of figures this out, and I think he's good enough to do it, but it's very difficult for me to watch that sort of play out, because Tyson Fury is just that good, honestly.
He's arguably the best heavyweight in the world, and we've seen him do it time after time. The one thing that I always go back to Tyson Fury, because we can talk about the Deontay Wilder fights, right? Classic fights, some of the best fights that you've seen in boxing.
The first
and two. Yeah, exactly. But even the third one, like, it was entertaining. Like, let's just keep it real here. Anytime it's Deontay Wilder, like, I want to watch because he's one of my favorite boxers, and Tyson Fury always brings it. But I always go back to that Otto Wallin fight. And I remember that was a fight where that was on ESPN, and Tyson Fury had that big gash over his eye. Disgusting, nasty. Like most fights, that would have been stopped. But he kept on going, and he just showed mad heart in that fight. And that's when I really, really became a fan of Tyson Fury, after that Otto Wallin fight. Because I was always a little bit unsure, because I was always leaning over towards Deontay Wilder a little bit more than Tyson Fury. But he's proved that he's the best heavyweight. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I don't know who I'm going with on this fight, because Oleksandr Usyk, he moves around the ring so well, cleaned out the cruiserweight division. I know you're not the biggest fan of Anthony Joshua personally.
It's not personal. I'm talking just strictly boxing stuff.
Yeah. But I mean, like, your personal choice, like, you wouldn't put him on your like top 5 heavyweights.
And perhaps the way he's overcovered. But that's another discussion for another day.
We'll have to get into that when AJ fights, and we will get into that when AJ
he'll
does
probably
get into the ring.
Jermaine Franklin, though. Another fight we'll talk about next week.
But. And we're going to do some betting as well on that. But the one thing that I definitely want to mention is Oleksandr Usyk. He's so skilled. He's able to figure out guys. He's able to move around the ring. The only thing that I'm going to be worried about with Fury is his conditioning. And also, those Deontay Wilder fights, how much did that take out of Fury?
Fair.
Because there's just so much, like, we talked about how annoying this can be when fights don't happen. And as a boxing fan, I'm sitting here on Twitter watching this back and forth between him and Usyk, and I'm like, I don't care. There's a whole bunch of talking, and it just reminds me of when the whole AJ Tyson Fury thing was going on, and it didn't end up happening. And this fight has to happen. Just get the deal done and quit talking. But apparently he like is blacking out of social media at this point, because this fight's going down. So if I see Tyson Fury pop up on my Twitter one more time, man, I'm gonna have to mute him. Because I'm gonna have to mute him until the fight gets announced. But I don't know which way I'm gonna lean, because Oleksandr Usyk, from what we've seen from him at heavyweight in that small amount, it's very, very elite and immaculate. Like, his performances have been stellar. And I'm just like, Tyson Fury getting older, took a lot out of him going up against Deontay Wilder, and Usyk is so skilled. Fury has skill as well. It's a really good matchup. I don't know which way I'm going to go, and I'm really interested, Brian, when we do the betting portion of this, how the line is and how the line's going to move and change, and who people are going to put money on just before the fight comes in. Like, that's going to be the most exciting thing about this fight. But over here at the Mandatory, we also want to know who you're going to go with for this fight, if it ever goes down, if it happens. And what are your thoughts about Tyson Fury's antics? Any last thoughts, Brian?
You make a good point about wars, and Tyson Fury, as a professional, has been in more of them.
Yes.
With the Deontay Wilder trilogy. I'd hardly call Derek Chisora a war, but he is coming on.
That was a tune-up, man. That was a tune-up for him.
Nailed that one, by the way. Knockout between round 7 and 12, and he got that in 10, because I knew he was going to just sort of like wait. You know what I mean? Well, Derek Chisora, by the way, like, you know, he went after it, but Tyson Fury.
They love Derek Chisora, though, in the UK.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's a fight that
I'll tune into a Derek Chisora fight all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, you know, the Tyson Fury one was probably a step too far. But look, I think that with this fight in particular, though, Usyk is good enough to, you know, set traps and be able to catch Tyson Fury off balance, potentially get him off guard, counter him effectively. I just think the size and the strength, if Tyson Fury's focused, because one thing he did say in one of his many interviews was interesting, that he said that he feel like he's going to box for too long and he's going to have a loss or losses on his record. I'm paraphrasing. It wasn't exactly that, but it was something to that effect. And I'm not sure it's going to be Usyk, but at some point, yeah, like someone's going to beat most of these guys that we talk about. Somebody's going to beat them, right? How many guys actually retire undefeated? The reason why we have so many dudes walking around with undefeated records is because they're not fucking fighting each other. So these two fight each other, someone's going to catch an L. And I think with Tyson Fury, though, like somebody's going to, I think Oleksandr Usyk may lose, but also may lay the blueprint for somebody else to come around. Don't know who that is, but for somebody else to come around and actually execute it, who has more physical gifts, so to speak.
Well, see, the physicality that you just mentioned, like AJ is just as big. I mean, look at him physically. Anthony Joshua compared to Oleksandr Usyk, like Usyk is the smaller man. So
you know what I'm going to say, though.
Okay, yeah, I see. That's what I mean. I'm just saying, though. So I just think the fact that the way Usyk moves around the ring, how skilled he is, he's all like, this guy is, he does what he does so well in the ring with the skills that he has and the assets and the way that he figures out his opponent, right? Like it's no surprise. Like, I know the cruiserweight division isn't what it is in boxing, but he did clean it out. And then he went and he beat Anthony
No, he's
Joshua
legit. He's super
twice.
legit. He's super
So
legit. By the way, I think this will be a close fight. I'm not saying that he's gonna whoop
I
his
don't
ass or
know. I don't
anything.
know who's gonna win.
I
I
think
think Tyson Fury has to knock him out, and that hasn't happened yet. I think in order for Tyson Fury to win, he has to knock him out, because if it goes to the cards, I'm giving it to Usyk.
Well, one, I'm gonna see how that fight plays out first. But two, like I think it's gonna be like, I think we're gonna be looking at a 115, 113, 116. Like it's gonna be close.
It's gonna be split decision, yo.
Yeah,
It's gonna be split decision, so we
Or
get
majority.
we get the second fight. It
Yeah,
has to.
And I hope that's the case, because then that's probably best case scenario for boxing media, fans, content creators. Not in the same boat. They're all in different boats, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, I'm very hopeful that, one, it officially comes together, because there's that part of it that, as we're recording this, still has to play out as well. But I think it's going to be a great fight in a month where we're going to get some fucking bangers in April. Oh my God. So I can't wait. I can't wait for that.
April's definitely busy, but here on the Mandatory, we also want to know your thoughts. So let us know who you got for Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk, and how you think this fight is going to finish. Do you see Fury getting the knockout? Do you see Oleksandr Usyk just tearing it up on the cards? And do you actually think this might be a split decision, so they give us that second fight? Because in boxing, sometimes things are sus, and sometimes I think things are rigged. So that's a thing that we can get into at another time. I've seen too many robberies in broad daylight, Brian. We're going to get into that another time. We should do like a robbery list. We're going to do that on the Mandatory for you at one point. But if you haven't already liked the button, make sure you like the video, hit that subscribe button. Also follow us on our social media channels. It helps the show grow. And if you have time, leave a rate and review. You can find us on any streaming platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're there. So definitely come and kick it with us as well. If you're trying to listen to us, maybe in your car while you're at the gym, we're pretty much rocking with you throughout the way, but we're going to definitely have some more betting for you for these fights later on. And yeah, thanks so much for rocking with us, and we'll see you again soon.